The Transport Workers Union making a lot of noise.
Join me in that fight back against the company for the sake of your own livelihoods.
TWU! TWU! What do we want? When do we want it?
When I took over the leadership along with my partners, this new leadership of the TWU, we resolved that we were not going to let American Airlines steamroll us and steamroll our membership.
TWU's American Airlines contract was a long, tough campaign. For 4 years, the union was fighting on two major fronts. First, for fair wages and benefits for two different unions following a merger with U.S. Airways, and battling the airlines over what ultimately is a safety issue, keeping aircraft maintenance work in the United States.
The mechanics and fleet service workers are in the middle of contract negotiations. Outsourcing is a key issue.
My worst nightmare is that we'll open up the paper or turn on the news one morning and see that there was a catastrophe with an airplane that was maintained in China or South America or anywhere off U.S. soil.
In 2017, American Airlines had plans to build a $100 million maintenance center in Brazil to consolidate its South American operations. Later that year, the airlines announced it was moving work from South America to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Every single airline outsources their work, and American Airlines happens to be among the best in keeping the work inside the United States, and that's only because of the fight that the TWU put on. I stand here to tell you in front of this whole room, in front of everybody, anybody who's listening, that you're not going to get what you want. And if this erupts into the bloodiest, ugliest battle that the United States labor movement ever saw, that's what's going to happen. You're already profitable enough.
2 fatal flights in 5 months in late 2018 and early 2019 saw TWU head John Samuelson question the relationship between the FAA and aircraft maker Boeing.
Congress has acted, but the FAA is lax in their enforcement, and it's potentially going to lead to a disaster. I mean, we've seen a disaster in the air transport system recently, and certainly the FAA seems to be waiting around for another disaster to occur.
A mechanic can tell you exactly what's wrong with outsourcing a mechanic's job. He can tell you the work he does, and he can tell you the work that the outsourced vendors don't do.
We had rallies around the country. We had folks wearing t-shirts, banners, pins, buttons, taking photos, basically just doing internal organizing and getting people ready to stand up and be supportive of the TWU and whatever actions needed to be taken.
We're not accepting no crappy contract. It's not happening. Woo! Yeah!
We ended up getting a tentative agreement with American Airlines. We went out for ratification, and it was voted in by all our work groups over 90%. It's the best contract in the industry.
We started off as 2 houses. We came together as one. We need to complete the mission of building that house fully out.
So we managed to complete a contract 4 years in the making, right before the pandemic hit. All of a sudden we had to rush. We had to make sure that we could get copies of this contract to all of our members for them to have an ample enough time to review it and then order to vote on it. It is an industry-leading contract with wages, preserving jobs in America, specifically aircraft maintenance jobs that we kept in America.
So the victory at American Airlines is actually yet another really good example of what can be achieved when local presidents and the international and the local memberships and the international and our staff lock arms and row in one direction. We defeated a giant. We had a huge contract victory, perhaps the greatest victory in decades.